Imagine if one secret meeting could have changed the map of the world forever. In the middle of World War I, Germany tried something insane. They sent a secret team across the deserts, war zones and enemy territory to convince the Emir of Afghanistan to invade India and to bring the British Empire crashing down. Most people have never ever heard of it, but today I am going to tell you how close they actually came. By 1915, World War I had reached a deadly stalemate in Europe. Germany and its allies, the Ottoman Empire and Austro-Hungary, were fighting on multiple fronts. British forces controlled key colonies, especially India, the jewel of the British Empire. To break the deadlock, Germany needed a new front, one far from the trenches of France. They believed that by stirring rebellion in India, they could force the British to divert troops from Europe and destabilize its empire from within. The plan was bold and desperate, and at the center of it was Afghanistan. Independent, fiercely proud, and strategically located at the doorstep of India. The goal? Ignite revolution in British India by drawing in Afghanistan into the war on the side of Central Powers. Leading this mission were two men, Oskar von Niedermeyer, a Prussian officer with a flair for languages, geography and survival. He had previously travelled through Persia and Afghanistan as a lone adventurer, mapping remote terrain under the guise of scientific research. Otto von Hente was the other man, a suave, multilingual diplomat and former soldier, familiar with the political intricacies of the East. He had a reputation for charm and cunning, and could navigate both Berlin and desert encampments with equal ease. Fluent in Persian, Arabic and Turkish, both men were ideally suited for the task that blurred the line between espionage and diplomacy, between intelligence and delusion. Their mission: reach Kabul, win over the Emir of Afghanistan, and turn the region into a springboard for rebellion against the British in India. Their journey began in Constantinople, the capital of the Ottoman Empire and Germany's key ally. From there, they crossed into the Persian heartland, a country devastated by famine, racked by tribal feuds, and carved up by British and Russian spheres of influence. To travel openly as Germans would have been suicide, so instead, they used false identities, Persian, Turkish or Afghan, depending on the region, switching costumes, languages and stories as needed. British and Russian agents knew something was afoot. The party was shadowed, harassed and occasionally ambushed. Once Niedermeyer had to shoot his way out of a skirmish with local bandits, and another time they narrowly escaped arrest in Russian-controlled northern Persia. The terrain itself was merciless. They crossed the Dasht Kavir, a salt desert where temperature soared and water was scarce. Diseases like thyroid, dysentery and malaria thinned their ranks. Several died along the way. They bribed tribal chiefs for safe passage, paid off spies, and carried with them cases of gold coins to grease their journey. By the time they reached Herat on the Afghan border, they were reduced to a ragged, skeletal band, but they had made it. In late 1915, they arrived in Kabul, the enigmatic mountain capital of Afghanistan. At the time, the country was ruled by Emir Habibullah Khan, a ruler who balanced tradition and modernity. He had open schools, tolerated limited reforms, but was cautious by nature, determined to preserve his fragile kingdom amid rising global tides. The Germans came bearing gifts and promises. A personal letter from the Kaiser declaring friendship and support for Afghan sovereignty. A message from the Caliph of Islam urging Muslims to rise against the British in a global jihad. They offered weapons, gold, advisors and even envisioned a German-Afghan invasion of India, a resurrection of the Mughal dream. But Habibullah was no fool. He demanded proof. Where was Germany's victories? Could they really defeat Britain? Could they really send troops and not just words? But more importantly, what of India's Muslims? Would they rise up if he gave the signal? The Emir hesitated, and he was right to. Germany had suffered immense losses on the Western Front. Its resources were stretched thin, and though nationalist sentiment stirred in India, there was no sign of a mass uprising ready to explode. Still, for months, the Emir kept Germans in Kabul. He played a high-stake game, entertaining the idea of an alliance to pressure the British, while seeking the best deal for his country. He allowed them to meet Afghan leaders, distribute propaganda, and even make contact with Indian revolutionaries. Meanwhile, alarm bells rang in Delhi and London. British intelligence uncovered the German plot, fearing a Muslim revolt across India. In response, they increased surveillance, tightened controls over Persia, and cracked down on sedition. The Ottoman call to jihad, caused particular dread, given Britain's rule over millions of Muslims across its empire, and though some Indian Muslims joined the cause and even formed the provisional exile government in Kabul, the mass uprising never came. By the mid-1916, the mission had failed. Afghanistan's emir chose neutrality. The Germans withdrew, and some were captured whilst others vanished. Hentig escaped and Niedermeyer returned home disillusioned, and though the expedition failed, it had lasting effects. Britain tightened its hold on India, expanded its spy network, and Afghanistan's brief flirtation with Germany planted the seeds for future independence struggles, leading to the Third Anglo-Afghan War. For Germany, it was a hard lesson. Ambition alone isn't enough without real allies on the ground.